So, hi, it's Jane O'Halloran, founder of True to You Midlife Women Reclaiming Their Identity. So, how are you doing? I'm looking at the camera. I also have a screen over here, so I'll be looking at that. Thank you for those people that are joining me live. And oh, hang on, I've got the internet going a bit funny here. Something going a bit funny. Okay, who knows? So we'll get on with it. So yeah, thank you for joining me live, those that are joining me live, and thank you those who are watching on the replay. So, I made a decision early on that I wasn't worth loving as a small child, and that was based on the evidence that I could perceive at the time through the eyes of a small child. Um, it was easier to stay quiet and just be invisible. And that decision played out throughout my life in small ways and in huge ways. It controlled me until I changed the story. Okay. So I want to talk about that with you today because I want to encourage you to change your story. Okay. So do some of these behaviors seem familiar to you? Okay. How are we doing with the internet? It's looking okay. You go along with others because you want to keep the peace, even if it's something you're not particularly bothered to do, you don't want to do. Or you find it hard to speak up for yourself. It's like the words just stick in your throat. You just can't get those words out, even though it's like inside you'll feel like you're bursting and you need to say this thing. You just can't. It's like there's a block. Do you give time, energy, resources to others at the expense of yourself regularly? Like it's a habit, it's a pattern. Do you say you're fine when you're anything but? Do you overwork? Do you not give yourself enough rest? Do you not nurture yourself enough, nourish yourself enough? Do you eat the wrong foods? Or you can't be bothered cooking if it's just you? Would you rather hurt yourself than hurt someone else or risk upsetting someone else? Do you apologize for everything? You kind of move out the way, like make yourself small. Do you do these things? And if you do, what's the message each time that you're giving yourself? What's the message that's going to your subconscious? I don't matter. I'm not important. Other people are more important than me. Can you imagine if somebody said that to you? You're not important, you don't matter. Maybe somebody has said that. And how did that feel? But the thing is, you are telling that to yourself every time you do that. And even worse, you believe it. You believe that you're not important, that you're not good enough. We've been sold a story. It's selfish to take care of your needs. You need to make sure everyone else is happy. You're a bad person if you put your needs first. Or perhaps you're worried that people won't like you. You need others' approval because you're not secure in yourself. Perhaps you're worried you'll be abandoned. Maybe that's relating to something in your childhood. Or perhaps, like me, you never felt worthy of that self-care. And it's understandable, We've been programmed. These stories, you've been told them, you're telling yourself them. I told myself these stories for many years. like many years. And it absolutely had this such a detrimental effect on my life. And it was small things like not speaking up when we were sat, watching TV, and the TV was maybe angled so that I couldn't see it very well. It's like, oh, it's fine as long as everyone else is happy. Or, the choice of food that we'd eat, or the restaurant we'd go to, or going to the cinema, or, the choices. It was always as long as everyone else is happy, then that's fine. It doesn't matter about me. It doesn't matter about me. I don't matter. And then it played out in big ways, for example, when I was giving birth to my first child, to my daughter, I was on a ward that wasn't a delivery suite for whatever reason, and there was people on that ward who were not in labour, and I was in agony in labour. And if any of you have given birth, but it can be exceedingly painful, I did not feel able to cry out because I was worried about upsetting people. I held that in, that agony and that pain. I held that in. I swallowed it down. Ask yourself, what pain, what agony are you swallowing down? And then the ultimate, I guess, was that I stayed in a marriage for nearly 30 years that was unfulfilling, let's say, at its best, because I was worried about, upsetting others. I didn't want to rock the boat. And yes, there was fear as well. But there was that feeling of, well, I might upset others. Well, how will it be to my children? All understandable feelings and thoughts. But yet I was killing myself gradually every day. Every day I was dying a little bit inside. And yet it took me nearly 30 years to stand up and say, I can't do this anymore. 30 years I did that because I made that decision as a child that I wasn't worthy of love, of self-care, because of the stories that I've been told, that we've all been told, that we are not worthy of that, or we shouldn't love ourselves. We shouldn't stand up for ourselves. It's wrong to put your needs first. And I question whether men have the same conditioning that we have. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But it seems to me that as women, we particularly seem to have got this script that we need to be martyrs. Otherwise, we're no good as people. And we've taken that to heart, haven't we? And why? Why should you be less worthy of being looked after and cared for than anyone else? Why? What sense does that make? And if you care for you, then you're in the best shape to care for others, to inspire others, to be a role model. It makes more sense that we would care for ourselves, and yet the story is embedded. It's hard to change. It's frightening to change. What if I'm rejected? What if people don't like me? What if they disapprove of me? I must be a bad person for doing this, And those thoughts keep you trapped, powerless, invisible, humiliated, because you may be ashamed of your feelings. You may be ashamed that you think this way and that you feel this way and that you hold on to this pain and that you don't look after yourself and you don't speak up for yourself and you put everyone else first. And maybe these thoughts are irrational. Yes, that's probably, they are irrational. But they're real because we've been programmed. So if you're ashamed of your feelings, then you beating yourself up, with shame, you've got guilt. It's an extra stick to beat yourself up with. And it's a spiral, isn't it? We just beat ourselves up, and then we're less worthy in our own eyes, and then we don't look after ourselves, and we're giving ourselves a message that we're not important, we're not worthy, and it becomes a habit, a chronic way of being. You've got to ask yourself, is this happening for you? Because when you highlight it, you shine a light on it, then you can start to do something about it. And you know, it's often transition times that bring these things up. So if you're moving into your 50s, your 60s, you know, even later in life, you know, you still might be dealing with this stuff. Maybe your kids have left home and you don't know who you are anymore. The menopause, all of these things that we're dealing with, and people are dealing with those into their 70s. That brings this stuff up. It highlights it. It's this transition time where all of the things that we use to kind of keep our structure and keep everything, you know, in line and keep everything nicely tight and controlled, so I don't have to feel anything. I don't have to be at home with my own thoughts. All of that stuff kind of drops away, you know. And maybe your parents, you know, you're having parents have passed away, or they're poorly, and everything's different. And that's when all this comes up and it hits you like, whoa. But you know what? It can also be an opportunity for you to change your story. This transition time, this time when everything's coming up, we can look at it as, oh my God, this is awful. I feel terrible. This is horrendous. Or you can think, this could be an opportunity for me. Because every time you don't speak up, or every time you hold things in, you are hurting yourself. You are trapping painful emotions in your body, in your mind. You're telling yourself that you are less important. And you may not mean to be doing this, but you are. But learning to love yourself is the key. Learning to be brave, standing up for the small and the big things that matter to you. Because if you don't put yourself first, nobody will. Because everybody's a mirror of how you see yourself. Your life is a mirror of how you see yourself. And if you're not happy with what you see in your life, then you need to look at yourself. Because otherwise, your health is at stake, your physical health, your mental health. You are literally poisoning yourself with this behavior. And I get it, it's hard to change. It's so deeply ingrained. You don't even realize you're doing it most of the time. And it's frightening to change. It can create waves, it can rock the boat, it can shake up the status quo. I get that. I've done all of that. But what's the alternative? You know, do you really want to go on living the way you are? You know, when you get onto your deathbed, which life goes by like that, doesn't it? Do you want to feel like you've shortchanged yourself? Or do you want to know that you have really lived? And it's not too late. And you don't have to do it all at once, and you don't have to do it on your own. It's been a long journey for me, but with the guidance and the support that I've had, I have come a huge way. And I want to help you on your journey. So if you want to talk to me, you know where I am. But please do something. Don't keep this stuff trapped within you, because you don't want to regret. I think someone said regret is the scariest word. Well, everything else is frightening. I get that. But the most frightening thing is to get to the end of your life and have these huge regrets. And this is an opportunity for you now. So I invite you to contact me. You know, I invite you to do something. Whether you contact me, whether you do something else, but do something, and do it before you talk yourself out of it. because we, believe me, we're great, we are really good at talking ourselves out of things. It's like, oh, it's fine, it's fine. You know, you get a moment and you're like, this could really change my life. And then you're gonna go, it's too scary. And then this voice comes in, you don't need to bother, you're fine as you are. Well, you're okay. And it just happens. And then before you know, another year's gone by, another 5 years has gone by, another 10 years has gone by, and it's too late. So I feel like this is quite an impassioned plea, um, but it is an impassioned plea. And I hope you hear that and it lands with you. Okay, so thank you for listening. Thank you, those people that have been joining me. It's good to see you. And thank you so much for those that are joining on the recording. I've been Jane O'Halloran, and I'll see you in the next video. Love and light.